All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're on. Well, like we are on.
What kind of?
Yeah, we think we're finna sit in the cut.
The girl just said I'm about to go live.
Okay.
That means we going live.
We are live.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good to see you guys. It takes a minute or two for it to roll over to social media, but as you guys log on, please give your salams. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome from the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. I wanted to start off first and foremost and just deeply apologize. I am having some connection issues on my end. I am using a new computer today, so I'm lagging a little bit with what my guests are telling me. So if I lag, please accept my humble apologies. Stay with us. We have an amazing, amazing show for you today. Our episode is called Honor Thy Commitment. We are in season 4 of the Dope Muslim Woman podcast, From Heartbreak to Dope. We are in series, 3? The Radical Love podcast series. We're in the mini series, the Black Love Muslim Experience, and we are here. I'm so honored. I have this couple here who I've been personally watching for years and years, and I've been looking up to, mashallah, and I cannot wait to humbly introduce them. Wa alaikum salam, everybody. Thank you for giving your salams. Wa alaikum salam, Shahid. Wa alaikum salam, April. Thank you so much. Do me a favor and go ahead and share this episode. If you're here on the live, wa alaikum salam, Saudia, Isa. I see all of you guys, Sister Angela. Thank you for coming back and supporting the platform. Again, my apologies if I lag. Stay with us tonight and go ahead and share the podcast, inshallah. But let me introduce my amazing, phenomenal couple. Most of you guys know exactly who they are. This amazing couple have established themselves as media personalities. Their appearances on Family Court with Judge Penny and Dr. Phil garnered rave reviews as their parenting philosophies. And 2013 started with requests to appear on HuffPost Live, which was well received by the producers and viewers of the show and has earned them the label of marriage experts. Jenny's appearance on the Mike and Juliet morning show was phenomenal as she gave the Real Housewives of Atlanta a little wisdom. This amazing, phenomenal couple, we've seen them. They've been all over the triplets. Welcome so much to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hey, beautiful. How are you? Wow, mashallah. Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. It is my honor to have you guys. How you guys feeling tonight?
We're honored to be here.
What? Y'all good?
Yes. What?
Girl, I just like saying girl.
Oh, okay.
Y'all ready for this topic? Because we're talking about commitment. We're talking about commitment.
We talk about that a lot.
Right. You guys are the experts, mashallah. So, this topic is called Honor Thy Commitment. And I wanted to emphasize, we hear commitment thrown around a lot. But for us, as Black people here in this country, we have to reestablish some of the social norms, some of the family norms that we had in our culture. But when we were extracted from our land and brought here, we had to establish anew. And alhamdulillah, most of us came back to the knowledge of Islam. But again, what does commitment mean to us and our people, even though our families have been under attack? So I wanted to start at the beginning, first of all, just why did you guys decide to get married?
Me personally, I wanted commitment.
Both wanted it.
It was too much loose leaves going down out there.
Yeah, and now we gotta age ourselves. We gotta go back. Let's go way back to the 80s.
Okay.
I gotta age myself. Just tell the truth.
We gotta go way back, and the shacking up, that was like big in the 80s, right? People living together and a big thing. I definitely came from parents who wasn't trying to hear that. You ain't you ain't doing that. You ain't shacking up. Don't bring no babies to my house. Don't, none of that. From my parents. And he was just really morally like not wanting to live with him.
I told she wasn't moving in here. You wasn't moving up in here until we got married.
Unless you're married. So we were on that road of marriage, but pretty much making it solid with the commitment. And the day we married was the day we actually got our first apartment. The very day that we married.
That when she moved in, she couldn't move in before that. I had to have some papers.
So tell me a little bit about that, brother. Why were you so specific about? I mean, I'm only asking because you know, it's not common. You could have got your milk for free. Why did you opt not to?
Well, the whole thing is before I decided to settle down, it was a whole bunch of free stuff going on around there. And I just got kind of tired of it. I mean, I grew up in the music business, and I grew up on stage. I grew up in and out of hotels. I grew up in the Who. Ain't nobody had no girl in the Who.
Okay.
And so anyway, I just got tired of that life. So at that time, I was looking for somebody that I could settle down with. Again, everybody comes with that thing of knowing someone. 1,000 times I can't tell nobody, and you ain't gonna hear from no older folks unless they shacked up for about 15, 20 years. You ain't gonna get to know nobody until y'all behind that closed door. I learned that real quick once we did say I do, and I said, who the heck did I marry?
Right.
Was kind of wondering, did I make the wrong choice at the time? But I was committed to, but like you said, going back to what we knew before, the older folks was committed to marriage and family. We were I saw that we were getting away from it. We're really away from it now. I think people
not us as a couple, but
I'm talking about black folks. I'm talking about us as folks. From that,
because a lot of times the baby is coming, there's no commitment, there's no marriage, you know, and everything, and then a couple years later, the couple's not even together anymore.
Right.
So again, for me, I don't know, sis, what to tell you, but even past my brothers, because we always out there on the road, but I wanted to find that commitment before they did.
Plus, I challenged him on it. Like when we were really, really serious as far as, you know, together, I challenged him on it. I challenged him on the commitment, about being committed in marriage.
What do you mean by challenge? You tested him?
No.
What kind of test did I go through?
I challenged him as far as doing it now. We were 21. Okay. Doing it now. Do it now. Why do we have to wait?
And I said,
what is this thing about being engaged?
I said, let's roll with it then.
You know, what is that all about? We know we know what each other wants, so we're going to be together. So why we have to go through this 2-year engagement period or something like that? Do it now.
We talking about honor thy commitment. I'm gonna tell you how committed. I didn't even have a ring when she talking about, well, let's go. Oh, well, what you mean? Oh, let's go then. And so I had to have my boy give me his ring. So I had to hook some stuff up.
I challenged him so hard on it. He called my bluff. He called, talked to my dad. I didn't even know he talked to my dad about marrying me. And then he started setting up getting married. I didn't even know. I'm still talking to him.
I didn't even know you had to take a blood test.
Yeah, we didn't know. Thankfully, in the military, they guided us in what we needed to do in regards to that. But I challenged him so hard on the conversation that he started putting things in motion.
Yeah, because she didn't think I had it in me, because I like I said, I grew up on the road. I grew up out in the streets. I grew up in the, going from venue to venue, city to city type of thing. So she kind of, she tested me.
So I guess this leads me to my next question, which is, how do you define commitment and how do you shed that? You had a whole lifestyle prior. And a lot of men and women, they come out of lifestyles and now they want to be committed, but that takes a mindset shift, that takes work, that takes change in behavioral patterns. How does that happen? What do you do?
It takes a lot of work.
Well, in Islam, we know about patience, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know about patience before Islam, but it taught me patience real quick.
It takes a lot of work because, number one, you don't lose your friends. Like the day you get married, you have those
still
people
listening
in
to
your
that.
life. You still have your family that's all over
still
the
listening
place
to that
and
too.
Everything. You still have your coworkers. We were both in the military. You still have your coworkers. You still have all of that.
Man, my boys were still trying to go out and everything.
And everyone expects you to be the same. The only thing that happens is you get married,
right.
And now you're with this person.
Didn't nothing change? Or a lot changed?
A lot changed. And it took baby steps, like for him not to hang out with certain people.
Go to the club.
For me not to, entertain certain phone calls. For it took like baby steps to acclimate into the situation.
Years, people.
Yeah.
You ain't finna do this
Yeah,
overnight when you used to a certain lifestyle.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's not gonna happen overnight, but we were committed
Yeah.
to being married, so we worked everything out.
Right.
So y'all did, okay, so y'all both were committed. So how do you define commitment?
I define commitment once I told her once I get married, that's it. I don't look at it.
He told me that
before.
right before we went in. We got married in a pastor's quarters.
I said, "Are you sure?"
Or anything like that. And he told me that right before we went in.
Ain't no divorce once we do this. It
was almost one of the minutes like, shoot, am I sure?
But I know. But the commitment is the commitment, and part of the commitment that people have to understand is I was committed to this marriage, but I was also committed to her. So I was committed to not hurting her. I was committed to being by her side. It's commitment. I found out real quick. It's a lot of compartments to commitment, right? You can't just say you commit to something.
And committed to our life together and our mission moving forward. Like what was our values? Like we both wanted. We had to get through the military, and at the time we were still.
We both wanted to get out the club.
We were still. I
was trying to get out the club.
I was not in the club.
I was trying to get out.
Okay. And we were still pursuing his music, dreams, his music business. So, me taking up a part, of that, what was going to be our mission, our goals. We started having children, being committed to raising our children.
We put them in the business too.
Yeah. And what was going to be that. So he started laying out like a 5-year plan. And we were committed to making that come true, like working towards those goals to make that come true. So all
as a team, we did that teamwork over there.
All of that outside influence had to stop. All the outside influence had to
and when we say outside influence had to stop, once you make your commitment and you guys kind of see where you want to go with this, outside commitment, outside influence had to stop. I got rid of a lot of friends. Or what I thought was friends.
Yeah.
I found out real quick that they wasn't friendly to my commitment.
They weren't, right. They weren't committed to our commitment.
They were trying to keep me out in the streets.
So they were bad. They were a bad influence.
Right. Was that difficult for you to shut that? I mean, with your other relationships?
At first, because some of these my Marine boys. So we fought together. We like anybody, ain't nobody coming up in here. So it was kind of hard, but again,
and I probably had triple amount of friends that he did.
Oh yeah, because I didn't do that. The friend thing in the business I was in.
A lot of friends.
Everybody can't be your friend in the business I was in.
But what I'm finding now, 30 some years later, is like a lot. And even before this, like a lot of people have found us like on Facebook and different things like that, and have picked up the conversation. So they weren't good for us at the time. But they come back around into your life.
Yeah. And I talk to my boys now, and all of them divorced. All of them wanted me to keep going to the club with them, and they were still going to the club.
They are all
every single one of them jokers divorced.
And I knew their wives. I knew all of their wives. We used to go over their houses and different things.
They was committed to the club. They wasn't committed to their spouse.
And when people find us, we're like, man, y'all still together all these
So
years.
when we say commitment, everything is part of that commitment. It ain't just you're my wife, I'm your husband, we're committed. It's a whole bunch of compartments to go with that.
Right, absolutely, and sacrifices. So I wanted to know, like, you talked a lot. So how did you navigate setting boundaries? Because you guys, like I said, it was a transition. You had to have a lot of patience, forgiveness. Did you, Sister Jenny, did you have to lay down the law at a certain point? Did you have to put that?
What kind of law was this?
It was. Oh my goodness! It was to the point where it was like, when are we ever going to do anything together? So it's like you either go with them, you can stay with them.
Hey, they can tag along, can't
or
they?
you come with me and you can stay with me. That it had to be a thing where you merge the family together, because if you're spending so much time away from your mate. Especially, I was
trying to play tag team.
He worked with them for 8 hours a day when he was in the military. You work with them, so now you got to go out with them on the weekend too.
Tag,
that wasn't making
tag
sense.
me in, tag me back in, tag me back in.
So how did you respond to that boundary when she had to sort of kind of make it clear that that wasn't going to fly?
I started not tagging them so much. I kind of pulled back on how much I was tagging them in.
He was staying at the house so much they would want to come over.
Man. So then are y'all finna move in now? So now we all finna be one big happy family. Is that what y'all trying to tell me? So I had to, I'm looking at a lifetime commitment with my wife. Even early on, I kept saying, okay, I'm not laying down with these cats. I'm not thinking of a 20-year relationship. I'm not starting a family with these cats. Okay, I better start listening. So she wants to do family things without my boys. I had to start excluding my boys. And after I started excluding my boys, they started excluding themselves.
Right. And then because we were married first, and then they all started getting married. Like they all started finding people. Then they were contacting us again. And
then they knew what I was talking about. Like, hey, partner, we can't do this, man.
Then they were contacting us again for marriage advice. They were starting to get all these because they were going
right. Well, you did it first. You did it first, man. So what did you do? What I did y'all see me going to the club with y'all anymore?
Right.
With y'all real quick.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, man. So what are some common ways that nowadays, I mean, you guys give a whole bunch of advice. And like you said, it's difficult now. Commitment is, I don't even know if we're sure of exactly what it is these days. What are some common ways that you see young couples today violating their marriage commitment in the community?
Well, before we get to the married couples, you're talking about nowadays. One of the things, and I'm, a lot of things I see on social media, it kind of like irks my soul.
Yeah, you do be on them singles too, but you need to leave them singles alone.
When I see it, and I'm seeing people talking about what do you bring to the table, and go half on bills and all this other type of stuff. People have been in long-term marriages. That wasn't our conversation. That was never our conversation for what do you bring to the table. And it's like you are looking for someone to serve you. You are looking for a ready-made situation.
Mr. Belvedere?
Yeah, for someone.
Mr. Belvedere don't exist no more.
For someone to serve you.
Didn't that show go on?
That's part of the commitment, is being in the trenches with your mate, whatever the situation is. Because a person can bring, let me tell you this, a person can bring a ready-made package. They could have degrees, they could have a good job, maybe have a little stash, a car, even a household, even if it's a female. Okay, but guess what?
Might have a house too.
And by the end of the year, life comes at you fast. That could all be gone. That it could all just wash away. So did you marry that person for that, or did you marry that person?
It's not at all. That's gone.
Yeah,
the commitment was to the money. And the commitment was to those things. The commitment wasn't to the person.
Exactly. So we see so much superficial stuff these days that people are looking for in relationships, or even going into.
So we lost everything, and we was walking around on bare feet. And,
we've been there. We had an apartment burned down.
Sure did.
Where we lost pretty much everything.
We were looking at each other in the face like, what we gonna do now?
Exactly, pretty much everything, and we had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. Thankfully, we had the military, because the military helped us a lot. But being in that situation where you're looking at somebody like bringing everything to the table, what happens when that goes? What happens? Where are the character traits when you have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Because life does come too fast. And trust me, we've had several situations over 30 years. Life comes at you.
Well, I thought about going out there and selling that rock for a minute.
Stop it. No, you did not.
I was going to do something.
Dude, no.
I wasn't going to go broke for too long.
You need to stop. You know these agents be up in these no.
Were they going to arrest me for something for back in the day? Excuse me?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the 50 Boys?
Stop it. Dude.
I'm just trying to tell you.
Dude.
All right, you guys. So I wanted to ask, okay, so were you going to address the common ways that you see people breaking their commitment?
Yes.
Okay.
By seeking something other than their mate. Like it's better. The grass is greener. The grass is greener. If they're not happy and satisfied with what's at home, the grass is greener someplace else.
And you got to build what's at home. So when you're seeking something else, it's because you're not trying to build what you have.
You're not trying to build on it. You're trying to run away from
I could have, look, I was in the industry. I could have snuck away plenty of times early on.
Excuse me?
I could have, I could have. I was just trying to tell them something.
Okay.
And, but the thing was, okay, how is that going to solve my problem here at home? Again, I got, my friends.
Yeah.
My friends was on a different page. I was on a different page.
Before you get into a tangent.
Okay, I was going to get into a tangent.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Porn is breaking your commitment to your mate. And that's huge and heavy.
It surely
that could
is.
be a whole nother show. Seriously. And some people feel that I understand what the sister is saying. Yes, people are committed to the struggle. Like some people don't feel that they have to be married to struggle. But just like I said, there's no guarantee.
Hey, the marriage struggle is different than the struggle the marriage can make the struggle a little bit easier if y'all working together. Yeah. But the marriage struggle can be even more difficult than as a single person. I was single and I went through some things, but not personality things that I had to go through.
Exactly. And it doesn't always have to be the money-wise doesn't always have to be the struggle. Like I said, there's some couples that are fighting porn addiction.
I thought I would have to have her committed.
Seriously, porn addiction. Okay. There's a lot of couples that are battling domestic violence. I mean, we've counseled over 2,000 couples. A lot of times he don't like to call us counselors and different things like that. But I'm gonna tell you,
I'm just an old advisor.
I'm gonna tell you this
I'm just gonna advise you some stuff
from the Quran when it says seek mediation, one from his family, one for her family. A lot of people don't respect it in the family, but nothing in there says that you have to be a licensed counselor in order to advise and counsel people as far as mediating and helping them with their marriages. There's nothing.
No, a counselor doesn't mean wise.
That is a Western philosophy and terminology.
I'm not down to counselors, but a counselor don't mean
no,
wise.
We're not downing them. I'm just
I want someone who has more wisdom to advise me on what's going on in my marriage. If you ain't got 20 years of marriage, again, look, and I'm gonna just tell y'all from my experience. I talk to people, including my boys, that wanted me to go out, that were not married, and then some were married, but their outlook on their marriage wasn't good. So how was they going to give me some good advice, right?
Right. And instead of working on their marriage, this is another way that people dishonor their commitment. Instead of working on their marriages, they would be like to him, like, so you got another Jenny? Is there another Jenny around? If I can find another one of her.
Yeah, they thought they be when they were seeing her and how me and her was working, and I was like, partner, do you know what bruh been through?
Right. You know what goes on. They don't know what goes on inside closed doors.
If you want another Jenny, I would advise you not to get another Jenny.
Yeah, because they didn't get to see Jenny from the
I saw Jenny from the block. I saw Jenny from down the street. I saw Jenny from up in the air. I saw Jenny from around the world. I'm tired of seeing Jenny. That other Jenny. I like this Jenny.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Hello?
Yeah, I think I'm echoing. Okay. Malika, can we mute?
Yeah, but you were right on time now. Look at it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm on point. It's crazy. So we're about to transition off, but I did want to see if you could debunk a few myths. So we're going to do this super fast, if that's okay. I'm going to make a statement, and you're going to just say if you agree or disagree. You can give a short context if you can, and then we'll just move forward, okay? So the first one is that people don't value marriage the way they used to, so people these days are less committed. Agree or disagree?
100.
All right. Frequency of sex determines whether a relationship is good or bad.
Nope. Nada.
Disagree.
No, if you're basing it on sex, you still out your mind.
Okay. Marriage fixes everything. Everything in your life will get married. I'm better once you commit and get married.
No, especially if you haven't fixed yourself.
I mean, don't bring your problems to this marriage.
Exactly. And try somebody go help you.
Try to fix you before you try to fix us. You can't fix us if you ain't fixed.
Right. There you go. That part. Well, I wanted to just thank you guys. If you had any last little tidbit of advice for us out here, I would really appreciate it, of how we can stay in the fight to stay committed in our Muslim marriages. Because we out here struggling.
I'm going to talk about our book just a little bit. Okay,
Yes.
support our books a little bit, and also that we have a deal for everybody that's watching. Okay, everybody that's watching. We wrote this book almost 10 years ago, Surviving Marriage in the 21st Century.
I did it to help
13
y'all.
easy tips that can help you get
I
to
did it
20
to help
years
y'all
and beyond.
not go through what I went through, because I thought I had to be a committed to some type of institution.
It has way more than 13 tips, but it's really good, guys. It's, even after 8 years, people are still saying that this book is so good. And
I wish somebody had told me what I'm telling y'all.
A couple years ago, we came up with the card game, because what we find when we counsel couples is that people are not having good conversations. Like, they don't know that
they don't even know what to talk about.
They're scrolling
talking
more.
About some social media.
They're scrolling more than they're talking. They're actually talking, having conversations. And even the people who are single that purchase it, they're asking their potential mates these questions. So we have the card game. By Marriage Couples Card Game. 1999 questions for one great conversation. And mind you, one question might take you about 20 minutes or so, because we've played with like different people, because they're deep. They're not the average questions. There's no sexual stuff or anything like that.
Didn't she say keep it short?
These are, can I get to it? Can I get to the nugget?
What kind of?
So the deal and the special is that if you buy the card game, you get the book for free.
Woo!
Okay,
so y'all hear that?
Card game and get the book for free, but you got to use the code. Go to our website, rufusandjenny.com, and you got to use the code Fall in Love, all together, no spaces. Fall.
Oh, I thought it said Fall in Line.
I-N Love, Love. Fall in Love.
Okay, Malika, you got us. Okay, Fall in Love. That is
Fall in Love. And you buy the card game, you guys get the book for free. You guys know we have a lot of downtime that's getting ready to come up. A lot of downtime. You could play it with siblings. We played it with his parents. We played it with our children.
Woo, play it with some old folks, boy.
So they're
going to give you something.
You can really get somebody's mindset, because commitment is more about character than it is about material things. Anything else.
You'll really get to know people with these questions. Some of the people don't know people because they're not asking the right questions. And I know a lot of people say that, right? But I'm telling y'all, I had to learn.
Like even though we committed to the commitment, we knew a lot about each other up front before that time, and constantly have those conversations, And that's what we put in the game.
Before you get married, because you might find out some stuff.
Guess what, guys? When we created this game, it's been about 3 years ago now. But for our 30th anniversary, which our anniversary is like a week from today. So about 3 years ago, right? There's a question in here about vaccines. Did y'all know that we was gonna be in this? Did y'all know that we was gonna be up in this right here? Okay, but it's in this game.
Things that people don't discuss. You find out again. You're not gonna find out everything, but we're trying to help you at least ask some of the right questions.
Right. So I want to make sure, and I just want to double check with you guys about this code. Is it fall? Because I see 3 L's. Is it fall? Is okay? No. Is that I? So FALLIN.
And it's our web store. It's Rufus and Jenny, not triplet. It's just rufusandjenny.com. That's our web store. So we have our website and then we have our web store. So if you went to our website and click shop, then that takes you to our web store. But you could just put in rufusandjenny.com and that takes you directly to the web store where,
Okay.
Where you can get that.
No problem. Okay, so Malika's going to plug it back in for everybody. I know you guys were asking. Here it goes. Write it down. Share. Well, we want people to watch the podcast and get the code, inshallah. So share the podcast, share the information, and purchase. And I always say this, is that it's really important for us that we contribute back to those in our community who are pouring into us, right? Many of us are searching for answers. Many of us are suffering in our marriages. And mashallah, we have a couple that is pouring back into the community. So we need to support them. We need to purchase the book. We need to purchase the game. We need to support exactly what they're doing. And that is how our community will continue to thrive. So do it for that reason, inshallah ta'ala. But I wanted to say thank you so much for being on and for all of your wisdom and for dropping it here tonight. I greatly appreciate both of you guys.
And we want to wish you much and much, much more success. What you're doing here and you're taking on. We know this type of commitment to doing what you're doing and the work that it takes to do it and to do it consistently.
Y'all dope.
So may Allah bless you in your endeavors, and we wish you nothing but success.
Nothing but the dope success.
Thank you so much. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You guys, mashallah, you guys heard it. That was an amazing couple. Again, I am asking my audience members to bear with me with the Wi-Fi new computer issue that I'm having here today. But also, I want you to go ahead and share this podcast. But I'm super excited because I have another dope couple coming on. So let's go ahead and have them grace the stage here. Hey, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Sabria, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in like 20 years.
Yeah, probably. Probably. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Asad. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, and yourself, sister.
Good. Thank you guys for being here. All right, let me introduce this dope couple. As you guys can tell, I'm very familiar with Sister Inshra. Grew up with my family, my sister's best friend growing up. And she happens to be the sister of Qadira, who was on 2 episodes ago. So, mashallah. But Sister Inshra, she is a middle school principal, or also known as a division head. She's a Girl Scout troop leader with her daughter's troop and a volunteer for other kid activities. Brother Assad is athletic director and dabbles in the stock market. He also coaches soccer and basketball, including his son's team over the years. They've been married for 21 years. They live in South Brunswick, New Jersey. Their oldest child is in college and a graduate of an Islamic school. They have 3 in private Islamic schools in the area. They also run an Islamic summer camp for 14 years called Camp Minna. They enjoy family vacations, eating at different restaurants, and relaxing when they can. I would like to officially welcome Sister Inshra and Brother Assad to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, mashallah. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to just, we're going to just delve right into it. We're talking about honor thy commitment. You guys have been in it for 21 years. The couple prior was married for 30 years. So, mashallah, I'm sure you guys have a lot of wisdom. I want to just first ask, I like to ask every couple, what made you guys decide to get married? I think I remember it back then too, but what was the caveat?
What was the caveat? You want to start? Make this one again. Yeah. So it was funny because we both were looking to get married, and we kept getting like reacquainted in different ways. When I was younger, I used to run like these trips. And he used to go on the trips. He's a friend of one of my brothers, actually. I didn't know him very well, but he knew my brother very well, Sahir. So he grew up with him and things like that. I also was taking a Quran class at the time with his sister-in-law. So it was like we kept getting reacquainted. And then we found out that our parents knew each other for a long, long time, right?
Yeah, for a while, yeah.
So we were recommended to each other, and we got to know each other, and alhamdulillah.
Got married. That's it. That's Brother Assad. You want to add any sauce to that, or that's the story?
That's pretty much the story. That's better than me, huh?
It was like
what
3.
Made you
it was
decide to commit, Brother Assad. When made you decide to commit to Sister Inshra?
At the time, it was time. I was living at home, talking to my dad about possibly getting married, and then I knew Brother Amin for a while. Actually, like I said, I grew with her father for a while, and I knew her brother for a long time, and different things that we actually, she said, we did different events. We bumped into each other here and there, and I went up to got myself up together and spoke to my dad, and my dad sat down with her dad, and then we just made the move.
So it was like October, and we actually signed the contract in December. So it was just like 3 months.
Wow.
So it was like 3 months, and then from then on we we hung out and got to know each other more, and then we had the big walima in June, and
right.
And everything. So just 3 months.
Wow. So, man, so I wanted to know, like, how do you guys define commitment? I think it's kind of murky these days where people are getting married or not staying together. We just like a lot of us are not really sure what we're doing. How would you guys define commitment? And what does it take to stay committed?
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm going to start is basically faith. Reason why you're getting committed. What's the purpose of being committed? And the Sunnah, it states that where you're supposed to get married. So once you understand that you're doing it for the right reasons, like you're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you follow the Sunnah of Rasul, you pretty much will fall in the suit. And then you have the other things like you have, you would say you're committed based off your, what's one of the things you talked about? As far as
like your life goals, like
the goals that you have, your goals will have to be the same. And sometimes it's not the same, at least you come to communicate with one another to understand what your goals are trying to be. And when it comes to your children, when you're raising the children, you both have to have the same goals. So therefore, you know exactly what direction you're trying to go with it. And then with those two factors actually build up on lots of other factors to create that direction for you to stay committed, and understanding what your commitment is so important.
Yeah. So I agree. And I think that, commitment in marriage is just like one of the things that you have to be committed to in order to just like be firm, and also like to be a good example for your own children. You don't want to be, if you commit to your job or you commit to living somewhere, it's just like, a lot of different, a whole process of commitment. When it comes to children, we are both like very hands-on parents too, even for the college student. So that was something that we really had in common and wanted to continue on. We both believe in Islamic education. So we wanted our children to experience Islamic education, all the benefits that comes from it. And we moved and everything so that they can experience that. And we both believe in education in general. So we're always like current education, going to school, getting more certifications, like, whatever it is that we can do. So it's being committed to each other and to the whole process of everything that comes with it.
Yeah. And we have a common, and you stick with that common to help with the commitment going forward. That's what we're going for so long. We all have a common goal. We sit down, we talk. We have a common goal to keep the family together, to keep the family close, not just our immediate family, but also her mom's side, my side. So therefore, we consistently keep that bond strong. And then with that, having that strong bond between both families, it helps with the kids for generation and generation to understand how important it is for the family. And that's one of our focus. Our family had to be strong as possible. And strong in Islam, and also strong in the dunya, so to speak. So therefore, when they go out to the dunya, they understand exactly what they need to do. So our objective was, again, like you said, going to Islamic, getting Islamic education. But what's important is they understand why they're here. We have to was still okay. We have to educate our kids, not just academically, but first and foremost Islamically. So therefore, to keep going.
Yeah. For sure. The couple prior, they talked about at the beginning, they had to really learn how to let certain things go and to really like sort of establish their commitment. Like it just didn't come from the door. In your guys' experience, did you guys had to like create some boundaries, really sort of like work through some stuff, offer each other a lot of grace and forgiveness to get to the point where you're like, okay, we in this?
Yeah, it takes a lot of sabr, a lot of patience with your spouse on both sides. And when it comes to certain things, like you said, there are some boundaries we want to actually lay out, and it's based off, again, going to the word commitment. Once we understand exactly what you can and cannot do, as long as you're following the Quran and Sunnah through the process. But that's one of the things that I think is a lot of patience on that note, because you have to learn each other's behaviors, so to speak, or their what are things there? I guess
their likes and dislikes, their like things that make them tick off, and all that's a learning process. And I think none of those things you can learn until you like actually marry. Even when you're intending and you're going out and you get to know each other and things like that, there's but so much you're going to learn, right? Mm-hmm. So you're really going to learn those things after after you get married. And it's definitely a learning process and established over the time. I do think the fact that we were young, I think that actually helps, because I feel like when you're younger, you're more flexible and willing to and more. And sometimes when you get older, you're more set in your ways. Right. So I think that helped for us to be able to be more flexible and grow together. Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. How do you guys stay committed through the hard times? So let's say if you have financial troubles, you're just not seeing eye to eye. Like, what is it that kind of keeps you there if you truly are not feeling your spouse? And I know like most couples tend to go through those sort of periods. What is it that can keep a person in it when it doesn't feel good?
One of the things are to always try to stay close to your parents because they're wiser in the situation. So that's what I did. So when I go through situations where it comes to financial or any major problems that I'm having a hard time with, you always go to Allah first. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making salah, make dua. And then you go to the next level underneath that after following the sunnah. Go to your parents who are there because they may have experienced those particular things. So that's how I actually went through those trial tribulations. If I had some type of issues with my Zoj, I would go to my dad or my mom to figure out what I'm doing or what is she doing or what I need to understand so I can keep on going forward and not go to keep on constantly doing the same things or she doing the same things. And in the same breath, when you're in a marriage, you got to understand, you got, like you said, you got to learn how to bend a little bit. You got to actually understand you have to change some of your old ways. Some of your things that you used to do before you were doing by yourself. Yeah. Now you're doing with another person's partner. And I always use this analogy with Israel all the time. It's like a team effort. As a basketball team, you cannot win championships or football game without working as a team. You got to be tandem. If it's assistant coach or a coach, whatever the case may be, if those things are not going the same direction, it's not going to work. You're not going to win that championship. So that's how we actually move and flow. So if I don't get that, if I come in upset or angry about a specific topic or whatever thing is going on, and it have to go to a certain argument, it goes to a certain point, and it goes on deaf ear, it's like, what's the purpose? So instead of going through an argument all the time, I would usually go to my dad or my mom. Even sometimes I go get advice from her father to a certain extent, or her mom is to an extent, innuendos to tell them exactly, not to tell them exactly what's going on, but in a way to question, what should I do? This happens, or whatever the case may be. And then I get their wisdom. Based on their jewels and wisdom that they express to me, then I'll try to change the process because me being who I am, certain things I do, I know I don't behave certain ways. So my objective is if I do certain things, I see them out of pocket, so to speak, I do my best to actually start to make changes and make dua to Allah consistently. And as I keep on making those changes, making dua, I start to see change because everyone's trying to do the same thing. They're understanding where they need to be, alhamdulillah. And then we start to flow through it. And it's not like it's like an instant. It's something you have to work through process. You have to understand, you have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and you have to change your ways and be a leader, so to speak. If you're in the household, there's two people in the household, understand that you act is going to actually show traits to the kids that are in the household. So if you act irate, the kids going to act irate. Yeah. And that's what I think.
And I think that, like I said, both people have to be willing to be, to be flexible. So and you have to realize that all things are only temporary. Like, finances come and go, they go up and down. Everything is only like temporary. And so as long as you can see that, inshallah, it's going to be good on the other side. And I think having a supportive family, like he's very close to his mom and dad and to my mom and dad. And the same with me. I'm very close to my mom and dad and to his mom and dad. So, it's like all, connected and, just spending time with everyone and trying to take bits and pieces. I think, it's dua and it's a blessing, I always say, I was thinking he's like a month older than me. He was born in May, I was born in June the same year. And I was just like, how it says when your mate was created, your mate was created for the mate was created for the mate already. So I'm like, it didn't take, it wasn't like a long process between us. And we were actually born at the same hospital, the same summer, yeah, you go back and it's like all these similarities and it's like, so great.
Even yeah. So, okay. So, mashallah, this is really vital advice. But to be honest, as Black people here in this country, and I'm talking about Black Muslims, and sure, we came from the same community and you brother Assad as well. We all came from the same community and we saw some stuff, just to put it lightly. And we saw how, unions, relationships were navigated. And so it's difficult. We still carry some of that with us. What advice would you give to couples who are really struggling with that commitment aspect? They're struggling with, like the sister said, not seeing grass greener on the other side. we saw a lot of that growing up. So what are some advice you can give about that?
So I don't know. I feel kind of like a little weird giving it. I'm like, okay, we looked up and it was 21 years. I'm like, oh wow, subhanAllah. I mean, I feel like, time flies when you're having fun.
I guess so.
So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I look to older couples for advice more. Like, we have our examples in our community, in our family, 30 and 40. But I think you have to, like, in our religion is all about commitment. And so you have to be like, first of all, you're committed to your prayers. You're committed. So you have to be grounded and committed. So if people use that same philosophy, like, listen, we're committed to praying 5 times a day. We're committed to fasting. We're committed to like, if we have a verbal contract, we have to fulfill our verbal contract. We have a written contract. So if people really take the commitment seriously, like you're going to be judged based on your commitment, whether it's verbal or written, and you understand the magnitude of it, I think that it wouldn't be so much like, okie dokie and flaky, like things we saw, some of the things that we have saw growing up or heard about growing up, and things like that. People have to look at themselves and realize that we all have shortcomings, and no, you're not perfect. Like, you're not going to get anybody that's perfect, and you're not bringing a perfect person to the table. Like, you're not perfect either. And so you have to, you have to want better and know better and do better. So if you want to, build with this person, you have to get rid of all those misconceptions or all those ideas. And also, a lot of times people romanticize it, like it's going to be like this movie or that movie. It's going to be this fairy tale. It's nothing like it's nothing like TV. It's nothing like any of those things. It's the real, like I think, like the couple said before us. It's the commitment to the commitment. Like, and we were like, what does that mean? But it's the commit. You have to be committed to that word. Like, once you do this, there is no other. There are no other options. There is no way out. This is just what you have to do. Whether it's taking a couple days to think things through before you talk about a subject again. Whatever it is, and realizing that. Happiness is like temporary. You're happy for a temporary time, and then you get upset, then you're happy. Like you go through all these phases, and this is like the normal life.
My advice would be with someone in this particular situation, the grass is being greener on the other side, would be that you have to look outside, see who our generation is. Some of the kids don't have fathers, or fathers are not there in their lives. And I've dealt with children for a while, and I come across that consistently. When it comes to the children get hurt when you have a situation like this. When the children are involved with parents who are, to say so forth, not committed. And that's the real person who gets hurt in the situation. And that's where I come across, where I've seen that. That's why some of the things that have been out there that I'm trying to staying away, because I want to stay committed. My whole objective is stay committed with the people I have right now, my wife, my children, so on and so forth. And then that particular process go through and see it through to see the success from it. And I'm seeing success from it by being involved, not just being involved in a marriage, but being involved in my children's lifestyle and helping the children. And also not to stopping there, the kids who are connected to my kids, who are their friends, I can help them and help them. So the first thing I'll do is advise them that if you're a Muslim, stay in the masjid, come to the masjid, get advised by the strong ones who know to give the right advice. And then if you're an African American, go with the man who's actually been committed to his wife for a long period of time and built success from being with her for a long period of time, and see what he did. And the person who's actually addressing education, financial, so on and so forth, and religion, that's the person you want to kind of copy off of. If you want to go Islamically, you already know who the best example is Rasulullah. So and then you follow all the things and the things of the history of what the Rasul did and what he did with his wives, what he did with his children. And the first thing he did with his wife, you have the first wife, who was who? Khadijah, right? And then he was in for a long period of time. And then Khadijah passed away, and the Rasul then married more women for certain reasons. That's the thing. There's certain reasons that the Rasul did those things. And if the people understood the history of what the Rasul did, therefore certain things won't happen. But no one's perfect. The whole objective is to do your best to follow Islam and pray to Allah to direct you. But if those things are put in place, those things will help you out and benefit you a whole lot more.
And growing up.
Well, I wanted to ask, if that's okay, Inshira, I'm going to have you come back around. But Brother, so I really want to ask this question. just to keep it a whole 100% here. What are some specific things men need to do in this current society, in the era we're in, to really try to stay committed? Men specifically, because I know it's rough. It's rough out here. So what specifically would you say brothers should stay away from or stay close to?
It's something let's start with stay away from. You got to stay away from the person who's not a good friend. If you have friends, you got to got people with the same mindset, same lifestyle. They're married, they're doing the same thing. Because that's in general, that's how I try to stay, how to keep committed to guys who are trying to do the same thing. The brothers who are close to me, they're doing the same thing. They're going through the same struggle and understand what we need to do. And that's if you stay with those type of people, you stay positive. But if you don't stay with those type of people, you stay with those people, you're going to start going negative. So that's in that mindset, that's one of the things you need to stop doing. I believe that will help a lot from a lot of people in general to commit to becoming stronger, to help the youth and so on and so forth. But now to stay focused and how to stay focused, if you're going Islamic, you already know to go Islamic, you always go to Quran and Sunnah in general. And then when it comes to staying focused, it comes with the father and the mother in the household to direct the man or woman on what to do. So we're going with just the man. The first thing for to do is the father to direct the son to help him. Get yourself education first. When you get educated, find a woman who's educated to help you raise children, to help them get educated. And then it's me saying it, but it's not easy. But nevertheless, that's some of the ways I think that will kind of help the males of this generation to be more successful, because the media, and you have TV and you have glorified those guys on TV, what they do. And then being glorified, that's the only thing kids see. They don't see the other guy who's doing the right thing. They see the guy who's selling this, dancing there, getting this woman here and getting that woman here, or I got to get this woman over here, and and all these different things going on in front of them. And it's so easy to get duped quickly by what's on TV. And that's what I think it kind of hurts this whole society.
And that's the problem. One of the problems with social media too is that it's a glimpse. People think it's like one glimpse into somebody's moment, but they don't realize like all the other moments that made up that moment, and all the moments that's not so nice. So everybody's looking like, oh, this person has that, and that person has that, and that person has that, instead of focusing on what you have, or on your own on your own self, and realizing that everybody has moments that's up and down. It's part of human existence.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to see if you could debunk just maybe a few myths, inshallah. And so the way it works is I'll make a statement. You guys say whether you agree or disagree, and offer some context, inshallah. So the first one is if you marry the right person and avoid the red flags, you will always find staying committed to be easy within a marriage. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
You agree? Say it again. If you avoid the red flags, you will always find it easy.
If you marry the right person and avoid the red flags, you will always find staying committed easy.
Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes people are so gung-ho about the person that they want to marry, like they already have their minds made up because of other reasons that they might want to marry this person. But there are these obvious red flags that go off that show that it's not true characters, and people ignore it or don't want to see it just because they want to be with that person.
But sometimes I would say it's hard, especially if the person never actually was in that particular situation.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things too, again, comes with advice. Like if you've never been in a situation or a relationship and you see a person that you really, really infatuated by, it kind of blinds you. So it's really important that, again, someone gives you advice about that person that they see. That's why you have your sisters, your mother, if you're the male, and the father, whatever the case may be. They see some things that advise you, hey, I see something like this. You don't know if it's going to be a good person.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you may not even see it, but they might see it. You need to take that advice.
Yeah. I think too, I wanted to go back for 1 second when you how like you were saying that like people who we grew up in our community, they might have had the issues or whatever it is. But I found a lot of strength in seeing different family units, because you would know like what did you want to aspire to, or what you wanted to stay away from. but the brothers and sisters were strong, and they were also dealing with another dynamic that we didn't have to deal with. They were learning Islam, right? We already were born in our Muslim family. We're learning, but they were coming from their different vantage points, and they had to establish themselves as Muslim, and they had a lot. I don't want to say a lot more because we all have our stuff, but they had a lot of other. Sometimes they might have had non-Muslim families. They might have had this. They might have had that. And so I find strength in seeing that even though, we may not have wanted to end up like this or end up like that, we had these as examples, and we had these brothers and sisters as our protectors. And also every generation wants better. So their dua and things like that got us to where we are, because inshallah, they were making dua that we wouldn't have to go through the things in the strength of the community, and that we would have stronger ties, that we would do this. So and we're making dua for the next generation, and that's how it goes on and on.
Absolutely. Beautifully stated. Okay, the last one I have is married people are less lonely in general.
Married people are less lonely?
It depends on the marriage sometimes. It depends on the marriage relationship. It depends on the relationship again. Well, sometimes certain things happen where you don't spend time with each other. You spend time, because sometimes when you have children, the children overpower you, the whole relationship. And sometimes you're working, the job, the career overpowers it. So you got to find an equal, equilibrium?
Yeah, like an equal way.
Equal balance. You have to have a balance.
Yeah. So for example, today we both went to work, and then after work, then after work he had to go check on one of his ventures, and then he had to pick my one son up. I picked up the other two. Then my daughter had a doctor's appointment. Then my son had a basketball practice. So it's like by the time you get done with your day, you're like, so
you can have a time when you can feel lonely because you're actually speaking to your mate. You're not actually having a conversation with her because she has now a relationship with this and relationship with that. You got a relationship with this and maybe with
that. And by the end of the day, you're like tired.
You fall asleep. It's over. So you have to have a set time or day that you have to plan out to state that.
Right.
You have to spend the day, or it's a portion of the day to communicate with one another so you won't feel lonely. Because it does get cold,
Right. And then, maybe text each other through the day, check on each other, try to find those moments. Because we have our kids' age range from 20 to 7. So we've been doing it for a long time, and we still have a long time to go. So we have to, inshallah, just find like those moments and things like that. So I said you can have lonely moments, but not necessarily full, I'm not bored. I can't say I'm ever bored.
No, it's something relationship-wise.
Relationship-wise, I don't really be lonely.
I don't be lonely all the time.
So.
Alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I gained so much from you guys' insight. I deeply appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your wisdom. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, Inshra. Thank you, Brother Asad. Thank you guys for being here. May Allah bless your marriage.
Inshallah. And this right here is an email for our summer camp. We've been running it for 14 summers along with my sister and my mom and my sister-in-law. It's a whole family business, and my brother. So we're all involved in this camp. Alhamdulillah, we bring children from the whole Philadelphia area. We take them on different trips and adventures and things like that. So if you would like to, get information about our camp, it's there. Sabria, thank you so much. It was so good to see you.
Thank you.
And hopefully, anything that we said that was good, inshallah, it'll be beneficial.
And if you offended anyone, please forgive us.
Yes, inshallah.
We gained so much. Jazakallah khairan. Don't forget, you guys, if you're in the Philadelphia area, or if not, I don't even care. I always ask my audience, you need to support. Email the sister and see how you can donate or support the camp, because she is facilitating education and adventure and inquiry within our children. So may Allah bless you guys. May Allah, and I hope to see you guys soon, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Alaikum.
All right. So alhamdulillah, you guys. Woo, I love them. So again, I have to do this disclaimer the whole time just in case people are joining. I'm super lagged. I have Wi-Fi issues and stuff, but thank you for staying on with us. We love this absolute couple, and I cannot wait to connect with the next couple. So let's drum roll, bring them on. Let's bring them on. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Can you hear us okay?
Oh, you guys are perfect. How are you guys doing?
Good. Alhamdulillah.
Good, alhamdulillah. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no,
Thank you for coming on. It's like family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We because Amina, if I'm not mistaken, you're related to Akila, right?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay,
Yeah.
yep. And Hassan, I know you're that's family. So
Yeah,
mashallah. Good to see you guys. Alhamdulillah. Let me introduce
for a long time.
I know, mashallah. So let's go ahead and introduce you guys to the audience. So Sister Amina and Brother Hassan, they're from Philadelphia transplants. I didn't know that. They've been married for almost 6 years. Amina is from Long Island, New York, and Hassan is from Atlanta, Georgia. They currently are building their real estate investing business while working their 9-to-5s. When Amina and Hassan are not busy playing real life Monopoly, they love hanging out with family and friends, traveling and watching reruns of Forensic Files. And alhamdulillah, we're going to drop their information. But if you do want to follow their real estate investing journey, follow them on Instagram at Amina Y. Sanders and Charlie Hakeem. But we'll drop that at the end. Welcome to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Thank you for being here. Alhamdulillah. So I wanted to jump right to it. I love that you guys were married for 6 years. We had a 30-year marriage in the building, a 21-year marriage in the building, and now we got a 6-year. And I love it because we're going to really be able to show that it doesn't matter how long you've been married, commitment is commitment. And I just can't wait to, really talk to you guys about this topic. So first, what made you decide to get married?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and start off?
So we met in 2014. My cousin Akila actually introduced us. Since at the time I was living in Jersey, Hassan was living in Atlanta, and she had been actually trying to set us up for at least a year before we started talking.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so she, was like, hey, I think you should really talk to this, person or whatever, this guy. And I was like, I don't know. I was kind of busy with school and work. And so we decided to talk, and we were, sorry, I'm not good at telling this story. Hassan's a lot better. But in the interest of time, pretty much we were compatible, and we were friends, and we had a lot of similarities just based on how we grew up and the things that we were interested in. And also our biggest thing, and I'm sure Hassan will also agree, is that where we saw ourselves. We had lots of dreams and goals and aspirations for ourselves, and we were both instantly on the same page, just based upon our own interests. So
and I think that was a big part of kind of what made it so easy. Was that I think we were both looking for certain things for ourselves, and then for what we would kind of have as an ideal partner, and a lot of those qualities just clicked immediately. Literally from the first conversation. So I think that was really what led up to it. A lot of istikhara, a lot of a lot of dua, all that, and just I was gonna add one thing. It didn't so the first time. So I think her cousin had actually introduced her like a year before.
Yeah, in 2013.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But literally maybe a full year later, I was like, subhanAllah, I think that might be the best option for me, and alhamdulillah, that definitely was.
Yeah,
mashallah. So what was that thing that clicked for us? Commitment, because there's one thing I think, especially as Muslims, marriage is kind of one of our only options to be in relationship with the opposite gender, at least if we want to, follow the laws of Islam. But commitment is something different. It takes a whole lot of intention and work. What was the determining factor for you, Brother Hassan, and you, Sister Amina, that said, I really want to commit to this person and live a life with this person?
Yeah.
What was it?
I think for me, so I guess up until that point, so I had spent probably 6 months to a year just kind of soul searching, getting to know myself, figuring out what it was to kind of love myself again. That was an interesting phase for me in my life. And so with that experience, I kind of started to write down, or at least describe, what I was looking for in a partner and what I was looking for my own future. Right. So, like you mentioned, especially when it comes to commitment, there are a lot of different options available, right? Just
Yeah.
in life in general. And so, it was a decision to say, what I want for my own future is something that draws me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but something that, my future self won't regret, right? Because, one thing for me was like, I don't want to get to 35 to 40 to 45 and look back at the choices I made at 2025 and say, man, why the heck did you do that? Right. So that was a huge piece for me. So, kind of, taking that time to soul search, figure out who I was, and what I could actually bring to the table. At that point, it was like, I could actually bring my whole self. Right. So I wasn't coming with, hey, I have my own stuff and I'm still broken and fix me. Right.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, and so I think, and that was kind of the same thing for her was, she had a lot of, we had a lot of conversations around, who we ourselves wanted to be, what we wanted to offer to another person, and then what we wanted that person to be.
Yeah, I would agree. Like we were, one of the things that we agreed upon was that we wanted to be two whole people that are coming together to leverage one another versus feeling like you're kind of broken, or so we don't want to be codependent in that way. We both we just had a lot of goals and aspirations, and then we also like taking the necessary steps within our lives at that moment to to make that sacrifice to be able to get to that point. So, and as Muslims, like we don't really have like I guess depending on what community you're in, like you don't necessarily have like a long courtship. I think ours was, some people might think is long or some people might think is short, but we talked for a year. So we had the opportunity to, talk to each other, also be able to get to know one another's families, to, verify that information, be able to, maybe like, we went on chaperoned, outings, one of our family members were there, things like that. So it just gave us time to be able to become, know that, okay, this is the right decision. But then ultimately, like you have to make your istikhara, and you have to, obviously you do all the research, you do all the due diligence, and then you say bismillah and you go for it. So it can be scary, at least for me. Like I'm very like a bit of a control freak, and so it was very hard for me to like feel like, okay, did I do everything? Did I check all the boxes? Did I make sure that I did everything in my power to make sure that this was the right decision for me and also for him, right? So I think we just tried our best to mitigate as much risk as possible, and if there were issues that came up or things that we were wary about, we spoke about it. And we
that communication.
We definitely go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. I wanted to ask you guys about, because you mentioned this, you were living in New Jersey, Hassan was living in Atlanta. I wanted to know, what did it take? Was there sacrifices that had to be made to be in commitment, to be in this marriage, whether it was moving locations, whether it was getting rid of friends, whether it was, like what were those sacrifices involved, and were they difficult and challenging?
Well, yeah, I mean, so around that same time, so just going a little bit deeper into just our backgrounds a little bit, before we started talking, Amina's mother had recently passed, rahimahullah. And so around the time that we got married, my mother had recently passed, and so a lot of what was kind of tethering me to Atlanta and some of the conversations we were having around our own future was, hey, my mother's getting older. I want to make sure that I'm there for her. Right. And so we had some intentionality behind, I guess, Amina being the one that would come down to where I was, but then after my mother passed, I was like, well, there's nothing really tethering me here. Right. I have my family, I have my father here, but I can make that sacrifice. Right. And so it was a thing where, the decision was, if we have certain goals that we want to get to together, I'm okay with leaving Atlanta to make that happen. So we definitely did, have conversations around that, though. What would that look like? Where would we live? It's funny because we had a certain plan at first was, hey, we'll get married and then eventually we'll move in together. I think after we got married, we were like, hey, let's just go ahead and take that next step. We're still figuring certain things out, but I think we were prepared for that.
Yeah. See, same. I think. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Amina, please share.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, Hassan, I think he did most of the sacrificing as far as moving. Like, I know, but when we talked, and while his mom was still here, he was very upfront about wanting to make sure that he was there to take care of her and be there, and he didn't want to leave her. So and then I also had just kind of gotten a job that I really liked. So we knew early on that probably at least the first year or two of at least probably the year, 6 months to a year, was going to potentially be long distance, because I didn't want him to have to sacrifice time with his mother, especially just losing my mom. So but she ended up returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he made the decision that he would much rather come up here, and we kind of just started our life together. So
yeah. Wow, was that did you for Hassan, I know that you mentioned that it wasn't a lot here, but was there a transition for you? Was it challenging?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. I think, being in a place I wasn't used to. I still, alhamdulillah, I have family that's up here as well. So, it was the transition was made that much easier by having people. But, one of the things that we both kind of realized, her being from New York, me being from Atlanta, and then living in Philadelphia, was it hasn't always been the easiest, kind of having friends, in the city. We do now, alhamdulillah, it's awesome. We have some really awesome friends, but that's always, a big part of the challenge is now that you're in this, this new phase, you're committed to each other. Your single friends, generally have a lifestyle that you might not be able to keep up with, right?
Yeah.
And so, finding other, couples who, are kind of going through this same journey, in this same, marriage arena with us was a big challenge, especially first, coming up here. But I think it was also kind of exciting, because it was a chance to, establish myself somewhere I'd never been before. It was a chance to take opportunity I'd never seen before. And then also I'm someone who likes to not stay in the same place for a long time. I don't want to get too comfortable. I want to be able to, journey and experience and travel. And, she was kind of on the same page and really supportive of that. So that definitely helped. That definitely helped.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, and I apologize if I'm extra lagging. I have a lot of lagging on my end, but I don't know if you guys are seeing that. But I wanted to ask, because you guys are a little bit younger than our other couples, and you've been married for less time. And it's, the reality is that, younger couples are finding it challenging to commit. There's this plethora with the advent of social media, of the appearance, the falsity of a whole bunch of options, right? Everything looks pretty fair seeming and appealing, where, you used to, back in the day, just have to go out and, really look in community, kind of the authentic way you guys met, but it's a little different now. What do you find as some of the biggest challenges for people, I guess, in your arena, friends, other friends that are single or just now starting out? What do you find are some of the challenges with staying committed? I mean, I want to ask just from a woman's lens to you, Sister Amina, and from a man's lens. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that as far as staying committed,
or even wanting to commit, wanting
to commit.
A lot of sisters don't want to do that either.
I feel like it's a choice at the end of the day. It's like I say this a lot, but I'm like, it's the work. It's if you really want to, with anything in life, whether it's a career you want to go after, whether it's school, whether it's family, there has to be a level of intentionality there. So if you want to be in a committed relationship, first you have to decide if you want to be in a committed relationship, because there are some people that they don't want to be tied down or married or whatever perception they have of what a marriage should look like, right? So especially if you're young, you might think that marriage is will weigh you down. You're not able to maybe as a young Muslim girl, and I'm guilty of having some of those misconceptions of there's so much of myself that I'm going to have to sacrifice in the midst of getting married, especially getting married, young. And some people might think I was old when I got married. I was 24 when we got married. So and that was rough because I was like, but I had to define what I felt like before I even met Hassan, what I felt like a healthy marriage would look like and a healthy relationship would look like. And that's what I had to stay committed to. And I had to, talk about, I had to decide what were my non-negotiables within that commitment. Right. And then also make sure, like Hassan said, that I was prepared to be able to take that responsibility for someone else. And, be accountable to make sure that their needs are met as well. So there's a lot of like, just, self-work that needs to be done, to be honest. Because with social media, as we know, it's instant gratification, it's fleeting, it's fun, it's it's a fling, but I mean, you can't live your life that way, right? So you need to figure out what your goals are, what type of future you see for yourself. And it's hard to kind of make up that ground if you just decide to like jump into a marriage and now you're trying to figure it out with this person and you haven't really done the work necessary to make sure that you're these are the things that you want and you're committed to. So I think you have to make the decision that you want to be committed. And if it's fine, like if you don't want that, then that's fine. But if you are going to be committed, then you have to understand that it's work. It's there's another person involved, so there's care and mercy and consideration that needs to be given to that other person, with also making sure that you don't lose yourself in that process. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. And Brother Hassan, for men, for young men, for young Black men, what are some of the challenges to really being committed or wanting to be committed? Because that's what we struggling with.
No, I think and I think that's a big part of the challenge in and of itself, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a choice, right? I do firmly believe that it is a choice, and it's a choice that you have to make. And a lot of what from what Amina just said, what I'm hearing is the sustainability of it all, right? Being just so the social media, right? Everything that's offered, the whole, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. I think we deal with that on so many levels, right? Whether it's, companies or, relationships or, people or experiences, there's often this desire to just, the instant gratification, get to your goal, get to your own satisfaction or your own desire. There's a certain selfishness that comes from all of the social media. And I think, having a space where we're focused on, pictures of ourselves, our own stories, our own highlight reels, that only re-supports that narrative where it's like, it's all about me. And so I think, making the decision that, you're going to take that next step and take that transition, that's a huge part of it. Some of the couples that I've spoken to, or just some of the single friends that I've, kind of talked to over the years, and I've heard some of their experiences and what they're dealing with. And, I'll talk to them one day and it's one sister they're talking to. And then, a year later, it's another sister they're talking to. And then, well, this one didn't work out and that one didn't work out. And, what I've found consistently, and it's unfortunate, but what I found consistency is, oftentimes they will place fault back on like the sister, like, oh, well, she had this and she did this and she did that. And I'm like, well, I think you didn't learn anything. Right.
There you go. That part.
It's like because I was married before. Right. And so I'm like, we had a whole conversation early on. And she can kind of tell you what her perspective was on it. But, she asked me what my marriage was like and what I went through and what that experience was like. I was like, subhanAllah, there's a lot that I learned. There's a lot that I did wrong. There's, that, I actually reached out, I had to apologize. This is, hey, as a young man, I did these things. This was wrong. And I wanted to kind of, release that, right? And so if I came with some she was this and she was that, and and I never took my own time to learn and to grow, then you end up staying in that space. And so what I see pretty often is you have people who go through those types of experiences, and maybe they're not around the right type of energy that can help them learn from it, help them understand it, so they can make accountability, and so they can make a better choice. Because at the end of the day, for me, commitment has been making the choice want what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so I think if I can boil it down to anything, it's taking accountability and making the choice for what you want your life to look like.
I think that right there is super, super powerful. I appreciate you guys for sharing that. Again, I wanted to just, get your guys' perspective on a couple of, I guess, myths or statements about marriage and get your opinion. I'm actually going to run through all of them, if that's okay with you guys, because we have a couple extra minutes. And again, you guys just say whether you agree or disagree. You can offer context that you feel is necessary to it. But the first one is that if you marry the right person and avoid the red flags, you'll always find staying committed to be easy within a marriage.
Wait, was that us?
Oh, did I go out?
I think we went out.
I'm not sure who went out.
What about
We're back though.
We're back.
Yeah.
So I say, if you marry the right person and avoid the red flags, you will always find staying committed easy within a marriage. Agree or disagree?
I don't know.
You disagree? I mean, it disagrees. Okay.
Yeah, you got to read the signs. I'm sorry. You got to, handwriting a lot of times on the wall. And sometimes, you may not see it. And that's why it's really important to have a tribe. Like, I'm a big proponent of that. I know some people they don't, I mean, it's important to have, whether that be your wali or your father, your brothers, your sisters. Everyone shouldn't necessarily have a say, but you need a sounding board, and just say like, hey, or is this something I should be worried about? Because sometimes you're biased. Sometimes you just really like that person and you're willing to, make excuses or, act, you understand them on a different level. Sometimes the red flags can just be like, oh, whatever. But you just need a sounding board. It's just not enough to just be like, oh, okay, that's fine, and ignore it.
Right.
And if it is a red flag, also verbalize that to that person, saying, hey, well, what's that about? And be very direct about it, not like, passive aggressive, but just very direct about like, okay, this is something that worries me or concerns me, and what do you think about that? And just have that conversation. But
so basically, it's harder to stay committed if there are red flags. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I think in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, and you're kind of going to go back and allude to that red flag that you had prior to you getting married. And now you're going to think, well, did I make the wrong decision? Should I have, not got into this marriage, because that person kind of show who they are. And you're constantly going to be comparing yourself to that. So I'm maybe not, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't get married to that person, but it means that you just have to do, you just have to be upfront about what it is that you're worried about, and how that person can support you if it's something that, that they can do, that how they can support you to be able to get past that. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's hard to not have like a concrete example, but yeah.
No, I feel you. So my next one is that a person is not committed if they engage in an extramarital affair.
Yeah, no, I would say, you're not committed if that's not.
No, that's a clear no. Okay, no need for context.
Yeah.
At least for us. Some people that might fly, but not for me.
Yeah.
Okay, marriage fixes everything, and everything in your life will get better once you get married.
No,
not true. Okay, all right. And married people are less lonely.
I would hope. I've seen the opposite though. That's the thing. I've seen married couples who are, solo essentially. So I've seen it,
Yeah. Subhanallah. SubhanAllah. Well, I deeply appreciate you guys for coming on and your wisdom and your insight and just, mashallah, giving an example of what it takes to be committed and to stay committed. May Allah bless your marriage.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And Malika, if it's okay, I think, can we drop do you have their handles? Oh, there we go. Bam. So this is where we would follow them and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, the real estate, if people want to.
Yeah, so Hassan and I, we maybe about a year into our marriage, or maybe about a year into our marriage, we found real estate investing, and we were both hated our jobs. We were like, we can't do this for 60. We can't do this until we're like 65 and a half. So we decided that our vehicle to becoming financially free was going to be real estate investing, much like people do stock investing, things like that. So we learned about it, and we have ever since have we been buying property in Philadelphia area, and renovating them,
renovating it, renting it out,
and renting them out. We buy it and we hold it. And so if anybody, we're actually in the middle of a renovation right now of a triplex in West Philly. So if you guys,
so you flip homes, it's like flipping homes. Is that what it kind of is? Like the flip my house?
You usually sell it at the end. We don't sell it. We actually keep it and we rent it out.
Yeah.
Got you. Wow.
We do like the whole renovation. IHGTV. So we, instead of flipping them and selling them, we keep the property, and we're hoping to keep them for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Until the mortgage is paid off, and then see what happens. But that's pretty much our strategy. And so whoever wants to like follow along on that journey, they're welcome to follow us at our Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. SubhanAllah. Everybody's saying congrats on your endeavors. Someone Muslim, I don't know if you know Muslim, said they're big fans.
We're big fans.
Yeah, we're big fans of him. That's
that's the Muslim boxer.
Yeah.
Okay, SubhanAllah. Oh, okay. MashaAllah. Well, Tabarakallah, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for gracing the stage. I really appreciate your insight. Thank you to all the couples, Rufus and Jenny Triplet, Inshra and Assad, and Hassan and Amina, for talking about commitment, which is so important. And I love, one of the things I extracted is that commitment is a part of our faith. We commit to this deen, we commit to prayers, we commit to obedience. Yeah. So therefore we commit to our unions and our marriages. So mashallah, let's normalize commitment. Let's normalize these discussions. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for rocking with the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. We are officially done with the mini series, the Dope Black Muslim Love podcast series. So we are ending it with Hassan and Sister Amina. So Jazakallah khairan. Take care. Have a wonderful night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.